All right, everybody, welcome back to 18 Outdoors. Hey, if you haven't, please like and subscribe, share, tell your buddies, whatever. But today we're going to be talking about bluff gaps, and this is in the hilly country or some of the mountainous countries. This plays a vital part of some of your deer strategy. If not, it kind of should, because it's just another piece of a puzzle, and it's very, unique what deer and pigs and other animals do and how they use terrain. So I'm going to show you this. I'm going to try to be limited because it's kind of don't want to show too much. But anyway, this gap right here, first off, you look there, you see where something's been sliding. A hoofed animal, which is a deer, coming through this gap, so, and going up the hill. So that's a 3 or 4 foot jump, and it's slick, but those suckers can jump up that. It's amazing, what they can do. Then there's a trail that goes on around there. So I'm going to turn this off and get back and do a pretty good synopsis and theory or strategy of what to look for, what gaps to kind of try to pay attention to. Then hopefully this will benefit you and learn, and help you with your hill country hunting or mountain country hunting or areas that have bluff country. So, all right, y'all, bluff gaps. So what is a bluff gap? So in bluff country or hilly country, if you have, say, a straight wall of bluffs or straight steep terrain, deer or animals are going to find a place to transition up or down. So and I just showed you a video of a narrow one. So they can be real narrow and they can be 50, 100 yards wide. It just depends. And one of the main reasons that it depends is because what is on the other side of it, each side of it. Why? They just don't do it for the heck of it. It could be food, it could be bedding, it could be an escape route. It's just anything. So, but it's not just, it's going to be, it just ain't going to be random. They got, strategies for it, or theories, or not really theories, but ways to survive by using them. So this area we're looking at right here is, I got a thin gap, goes up to a thick bedding area and a couple multiple points, and it comes from a long holler. So, but the hardest part about scout for bluff gaps is you can put in 20 miles and not go a quarter of a mile or a half a mile, or maybe a little bit more than that. Because when I do it, so you find an area, always remember that you have got to have, if you're hunting a big bucks need to be in the area. So, we talk about that quite a bit. There's no need to be hunting an area that don't produce big bucks or don't produce the caliber of bucks that you want. So this is what you've done with a bluff country area. You need to pick out a pretty big area, say a couple 3 mile square or something. So, and what I do is I start out walking these drainages. You're gonna have bluff gaps and bluff pinches, not only in very big bottoms with straight up walls with big creek system. You're going to have them on smaller creek systems, and so that's why. So you start out with your topo maps, say LiDAR map, Spartan Forest map, something that shows good terrain changes, and you're looking for them real steep areas. Then start on them steep areas, and you got to walk every edge all the way around, walk up every draw, stay tight to them bluffs, and just keep following them around. Then once you find tracks, rubs, scrapes, anything that gives you some kind of indication that they're using that.
There's pretty good deer track. Just had got through video in the deer track and started to go walk up to meet Michael. Not even 5 steps away, I found this rub on this tree. Shadows in it, but I thought that was pretty cool.
You're going to have to transition up or down the gap to kind of get an idea why. Topo or aerial views can show you a little bit maybe, but most of the time, aerial views, or unless you can find some, are better at me at it, which don't take a lot to be better at me at looking at these these map stuff, because I've just now got good internet at the house. I've never had a real good way to look at aerial stuff, so I've done a lot of it on foot. So figuring out why they're doing this, you know, if they're going up there to bed, you know, if it's got blowdowns, if it's a cut over, you know, if it's just acorn points, you know, or some kind of food source up there, say food plots on the other end, or what. You got to try to learn all that, document it, and piece it. But it takes a lot of time, and when you're doing it, so right now it's postseason, you know, turkey season starts tomorrow here, so we're out doing this after the youth hunt, and it's starting to already turn green. But you can learn a lot, and you can possibly find sheds, but you got to, I mean, you got to put in a lot of miles. So this theory, you know, right now, this little area right now, to go up this point, or this Bluff Gap right here, you know, hunting right at a Bluff Gap, I don't do. It's just, you got to figure out how you're going to hunt it, if you want to hunt below it or above it, and all that is dictated by what is up or what is down, you know. Or I'm going to talk about another one here in a minute and show you a different example, but you've got to figure that part out and try to do. And sometimes it takes a little bit of in-season scouting, because these gaps are not always used just an everyday thing. So if it's an escape route, you know, because, you know, bucks a lot of times when they go to different areas, say a bedding, if they're using a gap, and this is a pretty good tactic early season, if you can find where a buck's bedding and he might be using a gap to use an area, is most of the time the gap is an escape route. Not all the time, but a pretty good bit of time. So he'll do a J hook and bed from a top, and he'll leave that gap as an escape way, or just he might make it to check it out every now and then, but he ain't gonna use it every day. So it's a kind of a early season tactic to try to figure out how or why or when he'd use that, or try to hunt him up in his bed, you know. Or you can hunt, you know, as it gets closer to the pre-rut, hunt below the gap, but you got to be able to get in there, and that's the hardest part, because a lot of times gaps are in such a unique wind tunnel so it makes that part tough. So I'm going to give you, for instance, that monster buck I killed, he was heading toward a Bluff Gap, but he still had probably 400 or 500 yards to go to get to it. So trying to find that sweet spot to hunt them is very tough, and putting the camera in there, you know, that's one of them things. Like if you put a camera in on a gap like this that bucks tend to use, you know, is getting that camera put in there without them knowing it and without them seeing it, because they see it, you know, they will go around it somehow or another. More than likely, you might push them to using a different point or something. So doing that's tough, and you're going to have to leave it all year, all season, basically. So you can try to spot gap or spot check gaps that does uses, because does got gaps that they use for, you know, for their bedding and such during the winter and during pressured parts of the season. So you got to think about that too. So you got to figure out, you know, do a lot of walking. I mean, always remember, and I'm going to give you a whole different description here in a little bit, is not all gaps are the same. You know, you got to really look tight and pay attention to the thing. Each go around around a boulder or trees, because some of them are hidden, you know, thick laurel bushes. So it's amazing what deer can use to travel and escape or use without you even knowing that. So you got to investigate that real good. So pretty cool part of the Bluff Gap stuff that we're talking about right here. I'm going to show you this trail. This highly visible trail goes around there through them laurel bush and stuff. It's above a Bluff Gap, going above a waterfall head on the side of a ridge, and it actually had branched off from another part of the trail. But all this is kind of stuff when you're investigating and look at these Bluff Gaps, is try to follow her out and trying to see what they're doing. And I know it takes a lot of dang time and effort to do it, but you know, it could be worth it. But so it's this, you know, pigs use these to an extent sometimes too, because they're gaps and there are ways for getting access, or ways from going point to point or escaping. So that's you kind of rule some of that out. But I've seen pigs and deer on using the same gaps or using the same trails to gap. So So we're gonna follow this on some more and kind of look at it and see what we can find. So I'm gonna walk on a little bit more and show you part of this, but this trail is, like again, I'm saying, coming from the bottom, going up a crazy jump. So, and we're gonna see what Kathy's walking around doing some video, and so we're both out here doing, you know, and we're gonna try to clip in some videos of some stuff she's talking about, because we found a few tracks and a few rubs and stuff. So
well, here I am up on top, Michael's down on the bottom. We kind of separate when we're scouting, kind of getting different ideas of the area, but you can see where that was been broke off. Now this is old, I mean it's an old rub, but I've already found several in this area, and so it's a good sign, plus tracks too. So found another good old deer rub, but good God almighty, how in the world they get up this stuff, I have no idea. It's amazing to me. Cool.
when you follow them gaps up on top of these points, doing that is make sure you circle the point, you know, up high and low. And it's better to have two people if you can, and look for, you know, bedding spots, you know, or maybe some kind of different type of food source. But, you know, just try to understand why, you know, that they're using that, and that'll help you, you know, learn your land that you're hunting, you know, because I'm a big proponent of, you find an area that produces the bucks you want to harvest, and then learn that area as good as you can. Every year, try to freshen your mind up and look at it, because things change, you know, tornadoes, fires, you know, logging can affect that. So always, I mean, the more time you can spend postseason, the better. You know, pre-season, you go out to do like some spot chasing. And you can come check them out during season if you're in a new area. You know, and that's a good way to kind of try to learn some stuff. You're gonna put down a lot of things human sense. So, but I mean, if you have to do that, I mean, you got to do what you got to do to harvest a deer. And new areas, you know, you might have to do something like that because you've not been there to investigate it more. So we're gonna walk on around and see if I can get a little bit more detail on this, and then explain to you another gap system. Again, this bluff is high up at the end of a drainage, you know, close to like a waterfall head that they use to go up. So, and there's a trail up there above that skirts a point. So they don't always have to come down this thing. Again, always remember that. Sometimes they're not gonna be wore out slick, you know, sometimes it might be, and sometimes you gotta make sure it ain't pigs doing that. So, but anyway, we're gonna walk on down. Cat's out here scouting a little bit. Walked up on this cat. I might look at it closer. It looks like a black racer, but it could be a king snake, but it's solid black. But
Don't look like our king snakes.
Well, it don't have no. If it's a black racer, it's a nice one because it's real long. And I'm assuming it's going to be a black racer due to its length and it's being skinny like that. So, but it's a cool looking snake. Go up there and catch it, baby.
No, I don't think so.
Huh? What?
I don't like snakes.
What?
I said I do not like snakes.
How about it?
No, snakes ain't, we don't get along. I walked over one last year in the flower bed. Thought it was a water hose till I done walked over it. It was huge.
Oh, wait. Yeah, that's a black racer. Okay, here's a little evidence of something that's been using this gap that was pretty aggressive or mad or something. So you can see a part of that laurel bush that broke off. Something wore out when it comes up. This is above a gap, and then you can see a little bit of maybe browse and stuff. Leaves been browsed a little bit, but trail goes on around that way. So always try to look for, I mean, subtle sign of anything using these gaps or what's using them. So just more pieces of the puzzle as usual that we're talking about. So So always, I mean, just keep stacking them up, keep looking, observing, making notes, and saving them on your Onyx or Spartan Forge, whatever it is you're using, and and then get back on a bigger computer and look at it. But all this, like, I'll document this stuff and keep up with it, then try to figure out how or why I'd hunt this. All right, y'all. Me and the rat here, we're taking a little bit of a break, so we're out doing some of this Bluff Gap scouting and videoing. So a couple things I kind of want to talk about a little bit is, one, y'all make sure when y'all watch this, got these mobile hunter expos coming up. You know, got Dalton, Georgia coming up June 28th through the 30th. Then we're gonna have the Michigan one coming up in July. I can't remember the dates, but I'll put the little flyer up. So, and then August, we got the Pennsylvania one. Y'all make sure y'all come to them, visit them. Unique show, all kind of stuff you can try out for the mobile hunting industry. And don't forget, Mr. Lamont, Daniel Lemon, me and him push-up contest. Be ready. Y'all might want to see that. Might want to laugh. Anyway, me and the rats here doing a little, again, thinking and talking. But got a buddy of ours that's going through some medical stuff. He's in the hospital right now. Been in the hospital for about a week or so. So y'all pray for him. Please pray for him. Robbie Posey, Lawrence County, Alabama. Just as good a guy as there could be. Good family man. So just going through some stuff. You kind of wonder sometimes about, people that's that good that have these things that happen to them. And, it's just, but it's part of life. And, y'all pray for him. We're hoping to get him back outdoors. And, me and him, I've known him for 26 years. And we've been on several awesome, hunting adventures, Alabama public land and Wyoming public land. So, and a bunch of fishing that we've done together. But y'all pray for him. And again, we're sitting here taking a break, thinking about this Bluff Gap stuff. And Rat's finding a few things. You videoed a little bit, ain't you?
Yeah, I did. I found some old scrapes and stuff like that, and old tracks. But people, it's hot. It's about 80 degrees out here.
Oh, it ain't that hot.
It showed 75 in the vehicle when we got here.
Well, it could be 20.
And saying we fully dressed, a lot of clothes on, and I've already pulled a tick off of me. So always make sure you wear long sleeves and spray your clothes real good. Yeah,
use that Sawyer's or some kind of Prometheum. Sawyer's is the best stuff we found for that. But again, we're done the Bluff Gap scouting and stuff like that. So another thing I kind of don't know if I hit on a lot is most of them Bluff Gaps, when I'm hunting them, or hunting the trails going to them, or sometimes the shelf going to them. And generally the ones I pick out to hunt, I'm in bow range. So I usually have some kind of close action, and a lot of that is trying to control the wind and the thermal part, because I don't want to be set up in a broad area where it's got a bunch of crazy stuff where the wind can ricochet. So generally I'm going to be tight to the trail or the shelf or the funnel or the pinch or a blow down that'll make them come close enough for me to get a bow shot, if the wind did do something kind of funky. So even while I'm gun hunting, so we're looking for them areas too, and trying to make a plan and get ready for this upcoming season, because it's coming fast. So we're gonna keep walking, keep looking, and we may eat a can of Baineys.
Yeah, I got a can of Baineys wings. That's our favorite thing.
Oh, look what we found right here. Old gas can or something. So
yeah, we're gonna put it in trophy room.
Yep, we're gonna carry that back to the house. Just part of the memories, part of the experience out here. Because
it still has the top on it, original top.
Yeah, still got that top, but it looks like it's been shot and it's had a rough life. But
it'll be a good conversation piece.
Yeah. So anyway, that's one thing about this public land, I guess, especially this one, is it used to be a bunch of farmlands and stuff before it was made into national forest. So you'll find some unique stuff in some weird places sometimes, so kind of pay attention to that. So
yeah, because I found some old Coke bottles down here.
Yeah, you find all kinds of stuff, because again, this is real bluffy right there. You see that notch up way up in that front, that'd be a good area to kind of check out. It could be a gap there. So, but this is rough, nasty, kind of extreme stuff, and we're kind of stay spread out, tag teaming this while we're looking at this, trying to find, because you got to do it in layers, to find some of this stuff. So,
because you'll hear me say in some of my videos, I don't know how in the world a deer gets up his stuff. It's unreal.
Yeah.
Because I got one stick and I found another stick laying down. I grabbed it, and that's the way I was able to come down the Bluff Gap.
Come down to what?
That down that hill.
Bluff Gap. Oh. Anyway, we're gonna eat us some bean and weenies, and then we got to get making a pretty good loop because we're limited on what time we got before it gets too dark. So we're about 1.5 miles in right now, and there's another 2.5, 3 mile circle back to the truck. So we'll see y'all. Okay, this example, the first example I was given, is just a big high wall area. So that high wall area had a tight gap, you know, just a very small place to get up to top of a point. So, and this can, you know, when you're out, again, when you're walking them creeks and the drainage is trying to find these places, every spur, every little drainage, every little holler, I mean, to learn all these things, you have to walk up and down them. Because the second example I'm going to give you is, this example is up high. This is the high part of the hills, okay? So rough drainage, you know, bucks love rough drainage stuff. It's kind of steeper stuff, bouldery stuff, just nasty dang billy goat stuff. So prime, good example, but all of them are not the same. So you gotta, I'm talking about put some boot leather in to do this, okay? The second example, and this example has really helped me out a lot on when I'm running trail cameras to kind of figure out some stuff when pressure is kind of put on, is lower part of drainages off of big creeks. Well, let me take that back. Main creek systems below the drainages, you can be walking them and you walk up and you'll see a bluff line, just say a 10-foot bluff, you know, not real tall bluff, but a more extreme that a deer is generally want to go and use. It'll go down for a couple hundred yards, whatever. Then there'll be a slight point or the bluff ends. And when you're not paying no attention to it, well, on down that system on the other side, there very well could be, and I know some prime areas of this, bluffs on the other side that you're not seeing, that's kind of forcing them to use that as a funnel going from lower transitions of drainages. You know, that's, you know, example number two. The example number one I just showed you, that steep one, is the higher part, you know, just the rougher areas. But the lower ones, at times, you know, food changes, you know, the weather changes, or just the way the area is, pines, whatever kind of different habitats you've got, that could force them to use that. But always try to pay attention to any kind of a bluff wall, why it lays there, and what's on the other side of it, you know, across the drainage. You know, I don't always look at one side, because again, you know, the bigger puzzle, the bigger piece of the puzzle is to look out. You know, don't always look too small. You're looking, you know, you're trying to find the pinch within a pinch, or the habitat within a habitat, or a spot within a spot, but always try to look big to get a general senses or a directional of where to look at for these micro spots. So anyway, when you're walking them, I'll probably, you know, repeat myself, but it takes a lot of time. So we're running a drainage right now from that to go hit another main creek system. Then each drainage that we get to, we're gonna walk them both sides and try to figure out why, find tracks, find rubs, find scrapes, you know, and try to find gaps and see why they use that. Because again, all gaps, there's not a stereotype gap. They're all different. You know, I mean, it's just from microscopic, narrow, you know, some of them they have to jump 4 or 5 to 6 foot up to steps, you know, to get up to stuff, or they jump down. You know, some of the gap things, you know, a buck would jump 15, 20 foot down to escape. So you got to kind of look at that and pay attention when you find beds, kind of look for them little escape gaps. So again, the second example, you know, that's the two main ones I look for, is the lower parts of the creek systems, looking for any kind of bluffs, walls, you know, steep things that deer cannot transition up, and then pay attention to both sides of these creeks and stuff to figure out why, what would make them cross. You know, oxbow areas is good to look for like that, you know. And so when you find these gaps, then trying to figure out exactly where to dang hunt them is one of the one of the toughest things to do. And the biggest part of it is the access, because they use them gaps for certain things. And if any kind of, to me, if anything out of the ordinary, if you walk through where they're transitioning through them things, leave any kind of scent during season, that's not going, especially on a mature buck, that ain't gonna last long. So you got to figure out how to get to that gap or the trail access to hunt that. So, and generally I'm gonna try to hunt between them where I think they're coming from a creek crossing or something like that, the lower part, and catch them coming up, say in the morning to it. And then in the evening I'm gonna try to stay a little bit tighter to it. But I generally like to have where I'm doing a using a bottom and coming up and over to watch a trail going to a gap. You know, it's just most of the time for me. You know, I'll do it both ways, but generally I'm on the lower side of it because of the way just the way I can access and the way the thermals are. Now you can find some where you can do from the top, you know, with a thermal. As soon as that sun gets up, it pulls up, and if you can find them, that's good. But not a lot of them is going to be like it. So, but access means that's the hardest part about how you're going to hunt them. But I'm telling you, it can be key. You know, it's key to a lot of your strategies and our tips and our tactics. What we use when we're hunting is tying in gaps, creek crossings, you know, different funnels, you know, habitat changes, elevation changes, timber changes, all together, and try to keep up with all that. You know, document it, learn it. You know, out right now we're just burning it up, trying to find all that stuff and see if anything's changed, and just have a good time out here in the woods, because, you know, that's part of God's nature. It's beautiful, and learning. It ain't always about the kill or whatever. That learning is part of the things that me and Kathy really love about doing this. So we're gonna walk on and see if we can find anything else. So always remember, higher gaps and lower gaps.
Walked up on some old hog bed. Got it, man. It's got it tore up. Nuisance. Everybody knows what that looks like. Here's another big old hog bed. This place is eat up with them. So big and it's hard to video.
All right, buddy. We're gonna wrap this video up. We've done about 3.5 miles, you know, walking lines and bluffs and stuff, trying to find some gaps, and we probably didn't cover a quarter to half a mile actual area, but that's part of it. So a quick little synopsis or overview is, you know, get your map systems out, use LiDAR, anything that shows steep grades, walkies, drainages, high and low, looking for bluffs, run bluff walls, gaps, you know, try to tie them in with different types of habitat change, maybe tie them in with saddles, you know, look at your aerial photos and see what the crop fields or green fields or parking areas for people look like, then kind of correlate that, make you a little map, and go to the area and start walking, checking these places out. Again, high and low, and like me and Kathy's, like she's on one level and I'm on another level, because some of the bluff things are closer to the lower part that kind of give you a different, you know, idea or advantage of how to hunt a place, you know, closer to some lower creek system versus, you know, the higher stuff, you know, and you can kind of correlate that with different times of the hunting season. You know, I like higher stuff early season when acorns start dropping, you know, for you know, white oak and stuff like that, because they're generally going to drop on tops and maybe certain sides of tops, and you might be able to find a buck or a deer that you're trying to hunt that's using a gap to access a point like that. And because it's so hot, you know, early season, they could be bedding lower and maybe come up a gap and go to an acorn ridge or toward a food plot or something like that. So there's a bunch of different ideas and tips and tactics when you're using gaps, you know, but try to remember to try to tie them in with other things, you know. So to help you, you know, find a good funnel and a good area to set up on. And always, when you're looking at this stuff, it's trying to figure out, when I'm looking at it right now, I'm trying to figure out how I can access it and be able to hunt it. So we've had a pretty good day, a few good tracks, you know, some pig sign and stuff. We seen a raccoon, I seen a snake, little black racer. She was scared of it. So, but
I don't like snakes.
she don't like it. She could be sitting on one right now. So, but
I know, I'm sitting on a bunch of ants.
them ants. Maybe they won't bother us. But anyway, we're gonna wrap this up. Remember, you know, we got these shows coming up. You know, there's all kinds of stuff you can try out and see. Mobile Hunter Expos. You got Georgia, you got Michigan, you got Pennsylvania, you got the World Dare Expo in Birmingham, Alabama coming up in July. So we'll have a booth in a couple places in Georgia and Alabama. So come by and see us, talk to us. You know, if y'all want any more different tips and tactics, you know, send us a message. I had a couple people ask me about the Bluff Gap stuff. So I'm hoping this helps. You know, it's just a lot of boots on the ground you got to do, you know, and it's a never ending process, basically.
It's hard.
So year-round thing for us, you know, to try to stay on top of it and try to stay successful and have a good time doing it. So anyway, we're going to wrap this up. Hope to see y'all soon.
Get them flat.
Get them flat. See y'all. Hey everybody, thank y'all for watching the videos. Well, again, we appreciate y'all's support. If you haven't liked, please like and subscribe. And you don't care if you haven't got one of our books, check out Amazon and get a book. Also, we got a link on there where you can, on our YouTube channel, where you can go on. We got a little store set up, like if you're interested in any kind of merchandise, shirts and stuff, you can check that out. And we really appreciate anything like that. So again, we appreciate y'all's support. You know, keep watching. We're gonna keep trying to share the outdoors and how we do some things, and try to help everybody that we can enjoy the outdoors. And you know, we do this for just basically because of the environment and the community that's involved and built around hunting. So again, we appreciate y'all. Like, share, and we'll see y'all again.